All right, everybody, we have a couple of things we're going to do today as far as end connectors are concerned. I wanted to at least show you there are a couple of different kinds of end connectors, and N as in Nancy, and this is one of them. This is, if you're really intimidated by end connectors and putting them on, this might be a good option for you. It's a two-piece connector. I didn't have it completely cranked in. But all you do, it's almost like a PL259 style, I guess you can call it, where you solder the tip, and then there's holes in here where you can solder the braid into this body. And then you just take this piece here, screw it on, and then you take a wrench and then you tighten it all the way. So that's one easy way to get an end connector on a piece of coax. So that's what you're looking for. You can stop this video and buy some of these and you'll be good to go. Or you might find yourself with an end connector like this one, where there are multiple pieces to it. There's actually like a rubber bushing in here and a couple of other metal parts. And then there's also another one. It's a little bit smaller. It has less parts on the inside, but still the same principle. These are a little bit harder, so if you can find the longer ones with the parts I'm going to show you, these are way better. So if we take off this top here, it's going to be essentially a compression fitting in a few moments, and then we start taking things out of here. Well, let's try getting this out of here like so. There is a ring like so. Then the next piece is a rubber piece. Just kind of slide that baby out. There we go. Let's get all this stuff out of here. So there is a rubber piece like so, and then there is like another little washer that goes on top of this guy like so, and then there's a little white piece like that, and then if you do that, you'll be able to get the center conductor out, and then you could or should be able to let's see here, what can I use to pop that out of here? You could slide that out too. And there you go. Now that's the whole piece. All of the pieces are out of there. Now what we are going to do is put this end connector on a piece of coax. And what I'm going to do is just kind of rough cut the coax. I'm going to line this up, thinking that the center conductor is going to be somewhere about there. So I'm going to take off probably that much as far as the jacket's concerned. And we'll try to evaluate how much, and there's probably a way where you can kind of measure all this stuff out, but you know, I'm kind of lazy and adventurous at the same time. So let's do that. All right, so I've got this dude. And what I want to do before we like really start too much is let's slide that guy on. We'll also want to take this piece and slide him on. And then this dude right here, we're going to slide him on too. And so what happens here is we are going to eventually screw this onto the body of the connector. So what's going to happen is this is going to cause a compression point here. And when we're spinning this to tighten it, we want it riding on that washer so that it is not twisting this plastic piece also. So that's why there's that little washer there. That's kind of important. So you can see it spins freely against that, and that's why that's there. So I'm going to just kind of put this guy right there. What I'm going to also do is take the braid. Here, let me just slide that back. I'm going to cut the braid also. And of course, kids, be careful with knives and razor blades. So I got that off of there. Yeah, this might not be the best coax in the world, huh? It's got a little bit chalky, but that's okay. We'll see what we got. I'm going to get into the dielectric a little bit and try not to get in there so much that I score the center connector. So I can pull it out enough so that this guy comes off. And then what you could do is you'll see that this piece, it's got some taper to it at the top here. And what that is designed to do is to go in between the jacket and the outer conductor. So what I'm going to do is try to help that along a little bit. I have to get my glasses out on that one. So let's pop open this guy. Let's give it some help. Got this outer jacket. Just kind of like give it a pull. Let's make sure that this piece is on there. And let's see what we can do. Let's try to get underneath the outer conductor. There we go. I'm almost kind of like taking the outer conductor and pulling it back a little bit. Let's get there. Get some of that stuff out of here. There we go. All right, so we've got some of that braid pulled back, so maybe we can get this slid into there easier. There we go. So that kind of slides in like so, right? Now we've got this piece, that piece, that piece, and now we're making a nice fitting. So that's going to be what that looks like. The braid makes contact with this piece, which is what we want. And then what we'll want to do is solder on this center conductor. Now the only thing is there is one little piece right here that we want to use as a little bit of a bushing before we solder on the center conductor. And it goes like this, like so. So there's a little bit of a ridge on the center conductor there that encapsulates into this. You have to make sure that this is the correct way, and this is it. That taper goes on the right side. This goes in, slides in, and it stays. And then once we solder this on, it'll all encapsulate. So what has to happen is this guy needs to come out. We can put him back in there because that's where he's ultimately going to be. So looks good. Now let's get this figured out. I'm just kind of like eyeballing this. That's what it's going to look like, right? And then what we're going to do is solder this pin on here and kind of look like that. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do, of course, I dropped it. I'm going to cut the center connector. It looks like this this center conductor only goes down to that first, there's like a little ridge there, goes down to the first ridge. So what we'll do is, here's my favorite SK tools, and I'm all for eyeballing it, right? I think that's probably going to be good. Let's do a test fit. Boom, bingo, perfect. Maybe it could go a little bit more, but I'm not even gonna really worry about it. Let's just see how it goes. So what I'll do is, at this moment, turn on our soldering iron. I'm firing it up to 480 degrees because I just want the hottest setting so that I can really, because this copper center conductor is going to dissipate heat quite a bit. And I've probably mentioned this in maybe some of my other videos that I like using really good quality solder. I think that's pretty important to get a good solder joint and have a lifelong soldered part. And what we're going to do is maybe let's do something like bring this guy over. And there's a bunch of chaos happening there. So let's make use of some of the tools that we've got. And what I like to do for something like this, I've got these little Velcro things. They kind of help. And that's going to hold it nicely for us, like so. Let's make sure you can see that. You can. There's a little baby hole in the top here, and that's going to be a great spot for solder to maybe flow in and through. Have it fully seated. And of course, I have to back this up a little bit. Don't worry, I mean, be generous with this. Pull that stuff off if you need it. I'm going to heat the side of it, which will also heat the center conductor. And I'm going to look for putting this solder more or less in that hole. Bingo. Let's see if that can do something fun for us. Let me get my needle nose. It's not going anywhere, but just for good measure, let's just make sure that this is nicely heated up. And we've got flow in there. Okay, so I can probably pull this up with a truck right now. It is definitely totally soldered in. We've got my modified quad hands there. And this is what we're going to look like. This center conductor is a little bit off, as you can see. It's kind of like going downward a little. I'm just going to angle it up a touch so that we are perfect, right? Looking good? I think that looks good. Let's see what we have. So yeah, the center conductor is going right through the center there. We have some resistance to go through with that rubber because it's a little bit inflated, right? Because of that bushing we put between the coax shield. So we're moving right in. We're basically threading that piece of rubber in there. All right, it looks like the center conductor is coming in nicely, and we're starting to get to some thread. And I'm just going to keep twisting the body because we're kind of like getting the body in and over that red piece of rubber. Now, I think it's nicely over it, so I'm going to start twisting this guy. And what I'm going to do is grab some wrenches. And I can't remember, is that, no. Let's get a 15 millimeter. Yeah, 15 millimeter is too small for both. I think it's probably 16, but you know what the heck. Yeah, 17's. Oh, 17's just right for, no, a little bit too big. And a little bit too wide, it looks like, too. Gosh, where's my 16 millimeter? I probably had it out and didn't put it back like I was supposed to. So what we're gonna do, let's use a couple crescent wrenches. So we've got this guy. And you know, having a good set of tools is important, and you can see there isn't a lot of clearance on that width, so I don't get a lot of bite there, but that's going to be good enough for government work. And let's start cranking this in. Gosh, let's see. That wasn't a 14 mil. Nope, wasn't. Doggone. Right, here's a 15. Is it a 15 maybe? No, it wasn't even 15. Here's a 17. No, 17's giving me enough. But yeah, you know, I can't really get a great grip on that guy. Let's see if I have anything smaller. Nope. Man, oh man, I wish I could find my 16 millimeter. 13, 14, 15, 12. Maybe let's go to US. Let's maybe try 5/8. 5/8 will work. Barely gets on there. All right. And you know, some of these will be metric. Some of them will be US. Some of the stuff that you buy from China will be metric, and sadly to say, this is probably one of those Chinese parts. So there we go. We've got it cranked in there pretty good. This, you could tell by how the coax fits. If you like just grab this and twist it, it doesn't move at all. Nothing moves in the center conductor. Everything's really tight. I could barely even crank this any further. Contrary to popular belief, that won't always go snug depending on you know, the coax and how you've got it configured. So it won't always go, because there sometimes isn't enough room, and you might even damage the innards. So make sure you get it tight, and this baby's not going to go anywhere. So I think if we turn on our continuity tester, let's kind of test this out. So that works. So if we do center conductor to body, we should show nothing, right? But body to braid, totally. And center, well, this is going to be a little bit difficult, but let's do center conductor. I'm just going to shove it in there to center conductor to braid, center conductor to center conductor. So it looks like we're good. So that is one side. I'm going to fit the other side with an end connector, and this is going to be my jumper that goes between my transverter and my alpha, or my Mirage amplifier. So that takes care of that. So if you're at all intimidated by fitting end connectors, you can watch this video, check it out. Of course, there's 3 kinds. The first one is like a PL259 2-piece that I showed you. And then there's also, get the junk out of the way, turn off the soldering iron. There's also this kind too, where it's a similar arrangement. We've got this fitting here, and there are a couple of little silicone pieces in here, and especially for this one, you'll notice that there's this piece. These are pretty common, but there's a compression piece that will go against the braid, and I might make a video on this because you have to make the braid kind of fold over this piece in a way, and then you'll also see that inside here, from a shipping standpoint, they put that little piece of metal on there, the little piece of wire, to be able to hold it, because this thing will just slide out and magically disappear and get lost. So that's what that looks like. We are, I'll probably just try to make a video on using this one. This one's a little bit different, and I would recommend this one instead, the longer one with the more pieces in there. I like how it encapsulates the ground braid. So other than that, that's your end connector. They've got a lot of great qualities to them. Can handle power, and they got lower loss, and yeah, they're just nice to have some consistency on the VHF and the UHF side. So any questions, let me know. Have a great one.